All right, guys, we have Big Mike in the house, and I wanted to show you exactly what she said today at the Kamala rally in Michigan, in case you missed it, because she's taking the same approach that Obama took that drew outrage from the black community because, they're taking the method of shaming and chastising and lecturing these people instead of trying to, tell them why their candidate would be better. Listen to what she's saying here.
I'm deeply concerned, and I'm talking to everybody out there, that too many of us are still confused and buying into the lies and distortions from people who do not have our best interest at heart.
You're confused.
So I want to address some of these concerns head on. Because when you lay out the options, this choice isn't even close. But whether it's online or in the media or in our social circles, there are folks who say they're not sure about Kamala. They accuse her of not providing enough policy detail. Some wonder, do we really know her? Is she too aggressive? Is she not aggressive enough? There are folks sowing seeds of doubt about whether she's who she appears to be. Now, don't get me wrong. Voters have every right to ask hard questions of any candidate seeking office. But can someone tell me why we are once again holding Kamala to a higher standard than her opponent?
Trump just did a 3-hour interview last night with Joe Rogan. No questions were off the tables. I could tell you firsthand when Trump was at Valuetainment, when he was on the PBD podcast, no questions were off the table. He was ready to answer anything.
We expect her to be intelligent and articulate, to have a clear set of policies, to never show too much anger, to prove time and time again that she belongs. But for Trump, we expect nothing at all. No understanding of policy, no ability to put together a coherent argument.
Sat down at the Chicago Economic Club and won over an entire crowd of business owners on economic policy.
No honesty, no decency, no morals. Instead, too many people are willing to write off his childish, mean-spirited antics by saying, well, Trump's just being Trump, rather than question his horrible behavior. Some folks think he's funny.
There's one thing we can all agree on. It's that Trump is funny. Even the most hardcore liberals think that Trump is funny.
And if you remember, that's exactly how he got elected the first time. Folks gave him a pass and rolled the dice, betting that he couldn't possibly be that bad. And then there were those folks who didn't think it really mattered who the president was, if you can believe that. And still others who thought it'd be a good idea just to blow up our entire democracy.
The best example of blowing up our democracy would be electing a nominee for a presidential race in a non-democratic way, where a small group of the political elites get to decide who it is rather than the democratic voters.
Let us not forget how badly that worked out for all of us. Let us not forget the incompetence and the corruption, the chaos that was the cornerstone of his entire 4 years in office.
Specifically there, she said that people are criticizing Kamala for not putting forward policy. So let's take a look at one of the most democratically biased outlets in the world and see what they had to say after their town hall with Kamala.
Focused a lot more on Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, than she did on many specifics in terms of what she would do.
What she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one. There wasn't one. Some more of her personality and her sort of character questions about your weaknesses or what mistakes did you make? Not necessarily the answers there.
Dana Bash is a Democrat, liberal, psycho zealot. When she is saying that, you have a problem.
Where I think she fails sometimes is to connect it more to her policies.
Right.
The things that would concern me is when she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city, and she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
People don't want escalation with Russia, Ukraine, the notion of nuclear war. They don't want escalation between Israel, Hamas. They don't want a flood of illegal immigrants coming across the border and us using FEMA money to house them and then not having money left when there's a natural disaster to help Americans. We don't want inflation and then you telling us that there's not inflation anymore because of the way that we measure inflation. I mean, watch this. The words being used here are the words of people who are desperate and angry.
I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll
When has she
forgive
ever
me
dazzled anybody
if I'm a
except
little
Willie Brown?
angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon.
Oh, God.
A known slumlord.
Ugh.
A predator found liable for sexual abuse. All of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all.
Unreal. If you want to be part of a community with like-minded people who you can talk about these things with, join my Telegram group called the Forbidden Book Society. Link below. I'll see you there.